and welcome back to Alyena's Kitchen. Today we are going to be making delicious pink champagne mini cupcakes. I am actually bringing these to a New Year's Eve party because they are always a hit and they're so cute, but you can also make them for Easter or birthday parties. It's up to you. The first thing we are going to start with is cooking down our pink champagne. This is a pink Moscato that I'm using today. And now the moment of truth, popping the bottle. Ooh! I love champagne. I think it's the funnest thing to drink and it gives such nice bubbles and it's so fancy, I feel like. So I'm going to use 1.5 cups of my champagne. And now over medium heat, I'm going to pour in my champagne and we are going to cook our champagne at a light simmer for about 6 to 8 minutes until it reaches 3/4 of a cup, so half the original amount. While our champagne is simmering, we can start on our batter. And here I have my mixer, and to that I'm going to add in 1/2 cup of butter that is at room temperature, along with 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. And now I'm just going to cream my butter and vanilla together for about 1 minute. The next thing I'm adding to my blender, now that my butter and vanilla is creamed together, is 2 cups of granulated sugar, along with 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, and 4 eggs, and these eggs are at room temperature. And now I'm just going to beat this together on medium speed for about 2 minutes until everything is fully combined. Okay, now that our champagne has simmered down, I'm going to pour it back into my measuring glass. Very carefully. There we go, and we have about a 3/4 cup, which is perfect. And you're going to want to let this completely cool down before we add it to our batter. Also, take 2 tablespoons out of this mixture because we are going to use it in our frosting as well. So I'm going to take a little bit out and let this cool down real quick. Ooh, that just exploded a little bit before I can add it into my batter. Now onto our dry ingredients. I have 2 2/3 cups of flour, and to that I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, along with a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm just going to stir this all together. And now that my champagne mixture is cooled down enough, I'm going to alternate by adding in my flour and then my champagne and go back and forth until everything is combined. Now the next step is completely optional, but I like my cupcakes to be a pastel pink, and you can either use pink food coloring or I only have red, so I'm just going to add a very small amount of red. And I will take back what I said about this batter being a pastel pink. It's more of a blush pink, but I think it's absolutely beautiful. And now we can line our cupcake pan and start baking our cupcakes. Okay, and here I have my mini cupcake pan. You also do not have to make these mini. You can make these full-on cupcakes, the mom and dad of the cupcake world, but I'm doing the little babies. And what I'm going to do is take about a tablespoon of my batter, and you want it to go about 2/3 of the way up because these do puff up a little bit in the oven, so it doesn't have to be to the very top. I've preheated my oven to 325 degrees and I'm going to bake my mini cupcakes for about 15 minutes or until I insert a toothpick and it comes out clean. While our cupcakes are cooling, I can start to make the icing. And I have 2 cups of powdered sugar, and I always like to sift my powdered sugar because I hate a clumpy icing. Whew, I smacked that right in my face. And now that we've sifted our powdered sugar, I can add in 1/2 cup of butter that is softened to room temperature, along with 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm also going to add in my champagne reduction, and I have 2 tablespoons of this going in. And now I'm just going to beat this together until everything is combined. Now that this is all creamed together, I'm going to slowly add in some whole milk. I'm going to use anywhere between 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk. I'm going to start with about 1/2 of my milk and then blend that in and then continue adding it until I get the consistency that I want. And I ended up using 2 tablespoons of my milk, and now I love the consistency. And following the pink theme, I'm going to add in a little bit of red food coloring to give it a pretty pink color. And I like to scrape down the sides of my bowl to make sure everything is getting combined. And then I'll give it a final whip and we can transfer it to our piping bag. Here is my first batch of my mini cupcakes cooled and ready to decorate. And I actually made one batch of mini cupcakes as well as one batch of big cupcakes because we like diversity. And if you're doing big cupcakes, you do want to bake them for a little bit longer, for about 20 minutes, whereas these took only 15. So now it's time to pipe our cupcakes. I really love icing, so I iced my cupcakes and I ran out of it really quickly, so I definitely recommend doubling your icing. Here we have our adorable little cupcakes and I decorated them with some pretty sprinkles. And then I also have little 2022 attachments, as well as a little champagne bottle popping that says 2022, which I think is very fitting for these cupcakes. But I think now I need to taste one because that's the most important thing, right? And here we have our adorable little cupcake. I can't wait to taste it. Wow. It's so good. I feel like I need to eat the whole thing, but I also need to talk to you. These are so light and delicious, and you get that hint of champagne in there, and the buttercream is so smooth. So please let me know if you try these cupcakes and what you think in the comments down below. Also, if you want to see some more homemade delicious desserts, there should be a playlist right here or over here. Thank you so much for watching, and a very happy new year. Bye for now.